Hey everybody, Josh Tully here. We have a very important subject to talk about today. It's the Countering Disinformation and Propaganda Act, and this is probably one of the largest gotchas that we've witnessed in our country in at least a generation. It happened last Friday, the Friday before Christmas, when everybody was talking about the holidays and everybody was talking about losing George Michael on Christmas Day, and then Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds. Quietly, a bill went through, NDAA 2017, the National Defense Authorization Act, and it went through with little to no fanfare. It went through the House, went through the Senate. President Barack Obama signed it Friday night. Now you might be asking yourself, well, why did he sign it Friday night? Was it because America would be mad at the $611 billion that's in it? The answer is no. No, that's not quite it. The reason why they didn't want it to be known that they signed it was this Countering Propaganda and Disinformation Act, or Countering Disinformation and Propaganda Act, whatever it's called. What this essentially does is it kills America. Seriously, it kills America. Now, they're going to pin this, and they're going to say, well, this is because what Russia did. This is because the hacks that Russia had into our election. One, if you've noticed, the White House has not produced any proof of this. The CIA has not produced any proof of this. The Washington Post, the New York Times has not produced any proof of this. There are Democrats even who are asking the president, if we're going to go with this story that Russia did it, give us something. You have to give us some sort of proof. And of course, the White House can't give any because Russia didn't do it. Nobody believes Russia did it. I'm not even a fan of Putin and Russia, but I'm willing to admit that Russia didn't do this. What really happened is the powers that be had their hands caught in the cookie jar. You had the White House behind election manipulation. You had the Hillary campaign behind election manipulation. You had the emails. If you remember, the FBI director said that she was guilty. It was funny when Hillary said, oh, well, let's go to what the FBI said back in July. You know what they said in July, Hillary? They said you were guilty. That's what it said. He just didn't recommend a prosecutor prosecuting you. But they said you are guilty. Over 110 times you're guilty. So they basically got caught. And then it goes even further than that. You have all the mainstream media outlets getting caught with their pants down in getting involved in this election thing. Everybody from Fox News to CNN to NBC, ABC, CNBC, all of them were involved in kind of helping the establishment behind Hillary Clinton get Hillary into office. So the media was compromised. And then you had this attack on alt media, which became alt-right and all that sort of stuff. And then they tried to label it fake news. And that's where this gets really scary. Look, if you want to hate this video, give it a thumbs down because, well, Josh, I like Hillary and Hillary should have won and you're just a Republican, blah, blah, blah. One, I'm not a Republican. Two, go ahead and hit the thumbs down. But this still affects you. Listen up. This act that they passed about disinformation and propaganda, they're going to try to spin this, and they're going to try to tell you that it has to do with foreign disinformation and propaganda, or foreign propaganda and disinformation. And I think the actual verbiage says foreign propaganda and disinformation. We have to be careful with the A&D, the and, because that's where this gets 7 flavors of absolutely nuts. The common man would hear this and say, well, it probably has to do something with foreign information and foreign propaganda. No. No. That and makes it foreign disinformation and propaganda as a whole. Well, first, before we look into that, we have to look at what disinformation is. Disinformation. How do you get disinformation? How do you disassemble something? You take something that's assembled and take it apart. How do you get dismissed? You are in a class and you are let go. What is disinformation? Disinformation is actually them taking the real information and keeping it from us, not wanting us to have it. That's the disinformation. But if we dig a little bit deeper into this, what does this really mean? That means that this video could be classified as disinformation and propaganda if it doesn't line up with what the government constitutes as truth. And that's where this gets even crazier. The government is going to decide what is and what is not true. The government. Now they set up a board. It's the Board of Governors and Broadcasting, the Broadcasting Governors Board. It's the Department of Defense. Wait a second. Why the Department of Defense? Well, Josh, we need that in case foreign entities try to influence our media. Like the $200 million Obama spent to try to get Netanyahu out of office? Just saying. Anyway, but it's this cabal of people who shouldn't have anything to do with the press. The reason the press is important is to hold those very people accountable. And if you want information, you should have it openly and freely available to you. Now, we've done other videos about how, yes, Facebook and Twitter are not public forums, they're private properties, so First Amendment rights technically don't apply there. And it's true. That's just the way it is. But you still should have the freedom of press. And the government should not be in the business of deciding who is and who is not press. They should also not be in the business of deciding what is and what is not true, what is and what is not news. They have no right to be there. The Constitution, for goodness sakes, the Bill of Rights, boom, number one. In addition to the religious cause, what else is in there? Freedom of the press. They were so important for the founders that press was the number one issue. The government shall not infringe upon the press, which means the government should never, ever, under any circumstances, pass any acts that are called stopping propaganda and disinformation. They should never, under any circumstances, set up a board of directors or governors or whatever they're calling it to decide what is and what is not true. As soon as they do that, they destroy the First Amendment. So, ladies and gentlemen, your First Amendment has been destroyed. Don't fall for the, well, we're protecting you from foreign entities trying to sell fake news. No, that's not what this is at all. Not if they get to determine what is and what is not fake. As soon as they get to determine what is and what is not fake, it's no longer fighting fake news. It's no longer fighting propaganda. It's no longer fighting disinformation on behalf of you. It's fighting those things on behalf of them. And that's a huge, huge, huge point. Look, everybody over the age of 7 knows that there are fake news stories out on the internet. Absolutely. So what? That's why it's up to you as an adult to be able to determine what you do and what you do not believe. If they get to start telling us what we do and what we do not believe, or what we should and what we should not believe, what else becomes fake news? Does your religious belief become fake news? I mean, think about it. They tried to get it all under hate crimes, right? Well, you can't believe in the Bible. Look at all the hate crimes that are in the Bible. And of course, that 7 flavors of stupid. But they couldn't stop that. So, well, the good news has now become the fake news. What then? What then? Don't underestimate how powerful this is. That's why they did it on Friday night. That's why no party stepped in between. See, stories like Hillary Clinton having some sort of illness, a mental incapability, that's now considered fake news. Hey, wait a second. So you're telling me that the neurosurgeons that I had on my show who looked at Hillary Clinton and said that is not pneumonia, that neurosurgeon is fake news now? Well, it would be, because that's what this board is deciding. What else are they going to decide is fake news? The millions and trillions of missing dollars from the government? Fake news! Folks, and don't let it go unnoticed either that other countries are doing the same thing, fighting the same fake news, all at the same time. France, Germany, Turkey, Egypt, Russia, US, Canada, we're all starting to fight fake news collectively? Wait a second, you're telling me that these governments can agree on what fake news is, but we can't even call an Islamic terrorist an Islamic terrorist? All these countries can agree on the definition of fake news, but we can't agree on who the guy is with the gun. That should be a warning sign to everybody. Listen, if you are some sort of liberal snowflake who cries at any sign of masculinity, I still want to tell you and warn you that this is coming, because this is going to affect you too. See, that's the importance of freedom. I love freedom, which means I support your freedom to be stupid. I still support it. I don't want the government coming in and telling you that you can't report what you want to report either. If you want to report, oh man, all redheads are idiots, obviously I'm going to disagree with you, but I'm going to defend your ability to say it. They just stripped you of your First Amendment. That's why progressives, liberals, Hillary voters, Obama voters, Trump voters, Kerry voters, I don't care who you voted for. Everybody who understands what just happened is livid. If they understand what happened. So spread this video like wildfire. Spread it everywhere. Let everybody know that number 1 on the Bill of Rights has just been destroyed.